Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Banansari Jamuna Tira Banansari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Pimanande Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Janitai Gaura Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatu Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhaviti Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Utamashloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishtreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pangum langayate girim. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning Bhagavatam class. We are reading from the first canto, the last chapter, chapter 19, which is entitled The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami. And let's see. Yesterday, I believe we did 7. So 8 today. Today, 8. Yes. Yes. So that's Canto 1, Chapter 19. text 8. Tatropajagmur bhuvanam punana mahanubhava munaya sa shishya prayena tirtha bigama padeshai swayam hi tirthani punanti santaha tatro pajagmur bhuvanam punana mahanubhava munaya sashishyaha prayena tirtha bigama padeshai swayam hitirthani punanti santaha tatro pajagmur bhuvanam punana mahanubhava munaya sashishyaha prayena tirtha bigama padeshai swayam hitirthani punanti santaha tatro pajagmur bhuvanam punana mahanubhava munaya sashishyaha prayena tirtha bigama padeshai swayam hitirthani punanti santaha mahanubhava munaya sashishyaha prayena tirtha bigama padeshai swayam hitirthani punanti santaha tatro pajagmur bhuvanam punana
mahanubhava munaya sashishya prayena tirtha bhigama padeshai swayam hitirthani punanti santaha
Tatropajagmur bhuvanam punana mahanubhava munaya sashishyaha prayena tirtha bhigama padeshai swayam hitirthani punanti santaha
tatropajagmur bhuvanam punana mahanubhava munaya sashishya prayena tirtha bhigama padeshai swayam hitirthani punanti santaha
swayam hitirthani punanti santaha Mataji, can? Tatropajagmur bhuvanam punana Mahanubhava munaya sasishya Prayena tirtha bhigamapadeshai Swayam hitirthani punanti santaha Tatra there Upajagmu
Upajagmu
arrived
arrived
Bhuvanam
Bhuvanam
the universe
the universe
Punanaha
Punanaha
those who can sanctify
those who can sanctify
Maha Anubhavaha
Maha Anubhavaha
great minds
great minds
Munaya
Munayaha
thinkers
thinkers
Sashishya
Sashishya
along with their disciples
along with their disciples
Prayena
Prayena
almost
almost
Tirtha
Tirtha
place of pilgrimage
place of pilgrimage
Abhigama
Abhigama
journey
journey
Apadeshai
Apadeshai
on the plea of
on the plea of
Swayam
Swayam
personally
personally
he
he
certainly
certainly
Tirthani
Tirthani
all the places of pilgrimage
all the places of pilgrimage
Punanti
Punanti
sanctify
sanctify
Santaha
Santaha
sages
sages
translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
yes.
At that time, all the great minds and thinkers, accompanied by their disciples, and sages who could verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage just by their presence, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrim's journey. Kindly repeat after me. At that time,
At that time
all the great minds and thinkers,
all the great minds and thinkers
accompanied by their disciples
accompanied by their disciples
and sages
and sages
who could verily sanctify
who could verily sanctify
a place of pilgrimage
a place of pilgrimage
just by their presence,
just by their presence
arrived there
arrived there
on the plea
on the plea
of making a pilgrim's journey.
of making a pilgrimage journey.
Purport. When Maharaj Parikshit sat down on the bank of the Ganges, yesterday was the Jamuna, the news spread in all directions of the universe, and the great minded sages who could follow the importance of the occasion all arrived there on the plea of pilgrimage. Actually, they came to meet Maharaj Parikshit and not to take a bath of pilgrimage because all of them were competent enough to sanctify the places of pilgrimage. Common men go to the pilgrimage sites to get themselves purified of all sins. Thus, the places of pilgrimage become overburdened with the sins of others. But when such sages visit overburdened places of pilgrimage, they sanctify the places by their presence. Therefore, the sages who came to meet Maharaj Parikshit were not very much interested in getting themselves purified like common men, but on the plea of taking a bath in that place, they came to meet Maharaj Parikshit because they could foresee that Srimad Bhagavatam would be spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. All of them wanted to take advantage of the great occasion. Translation again. At that time, all the great minds and thinkers, accompanied by their disciples, and sages who could verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage just by their presence, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrim's journey. So for those who were not present in the last few days, this is the beginning of the chapter which will be describing the arrival or the appearance of Shukadeva Goswami. Parikshit Maharaj, a great devotee of the Lord, was cursed by an inexperienced, immature son of a Brahmana to die within 7 days. And it is nicely described that because he was a great devotee of the Lord, he accepted the news of his being cursed to die within 7 days as good news. Means he actually, because of his advanced level of consciousness, because of being a pure devotee, he accepted this incident as what they call an act of providence, higher arrangement, the will of the Lord. And therefore, he is, although not only a king, but actually he is the emperor of the world, he is immediately able to abandon, to give up all types of duties and responsibilities, and of course the whole subject matter of learning how to become detached, because that is our main problem. All of us in the material world, we become attached, especially if we have different responsibilities. Parikshit Maharaj is showing us by personal example that he was immediately able to just give up everything and come to the banks of the Ganges or Yamuna, basically to prepare himself. So now in this verse, we're seeing how different sages, there must have been, because in the Vedic culture, sages are not only those who are brahmanas, isn't it? But the very word sage is also part of the title of those who are kings, Raja Rishi. They are a Raja, and at the same time they're a Rishi. Rishi means sage. They are learned in the principles of Dharma. As a matter of fact, the kings are meant, one of their primary duties and responsibilities is to uphold and to protect Dharma in its so many different forms. So here it's mentioning especially about sages. So greatly saintly persons, the characteristic of advanced souls, saintly persons, is that they are aware of, of things, important things that are taking place, important events. So they could understand because of their, just like at the beginning of Kali Yuga. Well, this is where we are actually, beginning of Kali Yuga. Um, one of the great personalities who will actually be sitting in that assembly to hear, uh, to yeah, to hear ultimately Bhagavatam is Sutta Goswami, who had left another assembly of great sages in Naimisharanya, who had gathered together to perform a 1,000-year yajna, not a 1-hour yajna or a 1-day yajna or a 1-week yajna, 1,000-year yajna to prepare for the advent of the age of Kali. So, the great sages, they are described as Trikalagya. Trikalagya, they can see past, present, and future. So here it is mentioning how so many of these sages, they came to the banks of the Ganges, Yamuna. Of course, um, not as Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. Most people, they go to a place of pilgrimage to become purified, to leave, to download sinful reactions, to get purified. Whereas sages, great sages, they go to holy places to actually purify. That was the whole part of the conversation between King Bhagirat and Mother Ganga. She did not want to come down from the moon planet to this planet because, especially in Kali Yuga, so many people will take bath in her waters and she'll be overburdened. And of course, King Bhagirat uh, put forth the argument, don't worry, some saintly persons will come to neutralize. Uh, so, in this way, we are fortunate that on this planet, Mother Ganga is um, flowing in so many places. She's even flowing in. I didn't know actually, and probably most of us don't. Most of us don't know, unless one goes. Unless one goes to Cambodia, one doesn't know that the Ganga is flowing in Cambodia. Mekong, yes, Mekong, Mekong. Me means mother, Mother Ganga, and huge, very big river. Uh, so it's like amazing, right?
It can flow.
Huh?
It can flow because within India itself, it's like different
Yes,
Bharatvarsh.
yes. Well, it goes in all the directions,
Right.
actually. Amazing.
It's a lot splitting from there.
Yeah.
And then coming back, even like Jalangi is coming from Ganga, then coming back. Merging back into
Huh?
Jalangi originates from Ganga and merges back into Ganga.
Okay.
But the waters are different.
Yeah, yeah.
Water goes dark. Dark water.
And here we are. I mean, Vrindavan, the Jamuna is there. Mayapur, the Ganga is here. And of course, there are so many other, throughout India, so many holy rivers are there. So that's why, that's one of the reasons why the land of India, Bharat, is sacred land, sanctified land. So one of the most important points, which is being mentioned here, um, which is mentioned at the end of the purport, that sages, their primary reason for going to a holy place is to actually get the association of sadhus, especially in the matter of hearing, isn't it? Sravanam, that is the first and most important activity in the process of bhakti or devotional service. Sravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam. Only by attentive, regular hearing and chanting can more easily the Vishnu smaranam, remembrance, naturally. Therefore, the importance, the emphasis is being given on these two activities, hearing and chanting. The more we are hearing and chanting as recommended in the Shastra, then more easily we will be able to remember Vishnu. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and Ante Narayana Smriti, perfection of life, is to remember Narayan at the end of our life. If we are practicing every day, then the chances of being able to remember Krishna, Narayana, at the end of our life is much easier. So, specifically, here, of course, it is mentioning that the sages could understand that the Srimad Bhagavatam will be spoken, and the Bhagavatam continues to be read, to be studied, and to be spoken. And that Bhagavatam hearing is considered even more important than just taking a bath in the Ganga. So, in other words, the real purification takes place when we associate, that is especially emphasized and nicely explained actually in the Shastra, how it is that type of sangha, that type of association with elevated personalities that the awakening of bhakti devotional service takes place. Krishna bhakti janmamul hoy sadhu sangha. That's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. All of us, all living entities, not only in the human form of life, in other forms of life also, this was demonstrated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was traveling through the forest of Jharikanda, that he made the animals in the forest chant and dance in ecstasy. So all living entities in the material world can be awakened actually to Krishna consciousness, especially through or by this process of hearing. And so this is setting the stage in the verses to come. There will be mention of different personalities. Among them will be Narada Muni. Previously, demigods would come also from other planets to attend certain special functions. Nowadays, that is explained by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion. Demigods are totally bypassing the Earth planet because it's like there's too much garbage, both literal and otherwise. There's too much of impurity. Demigods like to go to nice, clean, sanctified, holy places. So this is setting the scene seems to be earlier activities today. Or yeah, normally it's like people come late, or they're coming early too.
Preparation for tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. So we can still see in India, especially, of course, now what used to be mainly here in India is by Prabhupada's mercy also taking place around the world more and more. Um, we see here it mentions about sages along with their disciples. So yeah, naturally, great sages will have followers and disciples. So now this is slowly, gradually taking place more and more, in other countries, which means that actually that is a great, I mean, Srila Prabhupada, he could understand this. Srila Prabhupada is the mm, ambassador. Ambassador means someone who carries, who represents, isn't it? He is the spiritual ambassador, actually, of Bharat. By introducing, uh, when we say Vedic culture, well, the essence of the Vedic culture is especially found in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is, we should try to understand, the greatest gift. I mean, our Narendra Modi, he presents the Bhagavad Gita, which is, of course, we could say the introduction to the Bhagavatam, because we cannot properly understand something important. We cannot properly understand the Bhagavatam unless we read Bhagavad Gita. It's just like we cannot just enter college unless we've gone to primary school, or cannot go to secondary school. So there's a process and a method. But we should know that the of course, even within the Bhagavatam, because our book distributors, they don't ask people, did you read the Bhagavad Gita? They'll distribute Bhagavatam even to someone who doesn't know anything about the Vedic culture, because within the Bhagavatam, so many references and so many verses of the Bhagavad Gita are there as well. So we should try to understand actually how, this is like an ongoing Maha cleanup which is taking place throughout the whole planet, because every day devotees are, I don't know, it'd be interesting to find out. Somebody might have made a survey. How many classes of Bhagavatam can be heard or are being spoken every day, like in our temples or online, isn't it? There's a need for, counteracting all of the negative energies that are there in Kali Yuga that are ongoing right now. And one of the important ways actually is through this sound vibration of the holy name, and sound vibration also when we read and speak on the subject matters connected with the Bhagavatam. So there's, so there's a whole arrangement. It is part of it is directly very important part of the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to sanctify and to introduce actually this knowledge and this, it's not only knowledge, but it's a whole culture. Prabhupada explained how our Krishna consciousness movement is not simply giving us spiritual knowledge. Of course, that's most important. But connected, directly and intimately connected with spiritual knowledge is a whole, we could say, lifestyle, way of living. Who was mentioning yesterday? I was meeting a family from Rajasthan uh, who was mentioning that in many villages, well, I'm sure not only in Rajasthan, but possibly more so in places like Rajasthan and Gujarat also. Very traditional. So he was telling me that in our family, you know, everyone used to go to bed at 8 o'clock. Unheard of today. In the West, I mean, the nightlife begins after 10. And here, so that's the opposite is there. The Vedic culture, people take rest at 8 o'clock. And therefore, getting up at 4 o'clock is nothing. I mean, they get up even earlier sometimes. But definitely by 4 o'clock. Yeah, he was telling us even by 3:30, the ladies in the house are busy. Their Mangal Arati is in the kitchen.
I remember from my childhood, my grandmother would get up, and then when we are in village house, it's like that's how it
Yeah,
starts because morning
yeah,
milking and all takes
yeah,
place in the early morning.
yes, yes, yes,
Then cows go out.
right. Yeah, that's the whole. I mean, when I was visiting, because I was telling this devotee who came yesterday, he came with his wife and 2 children who are studying here. Um, so I was telling, because he's from Rajasthan, he knows about Patmera. Patmera, Patmera. Patmera is on the border, I think, of
Technically in Rajasthan, but right across the border
from Gujarat. Yeah, right. So Patmera, for those who may not know, is that place in India which is you could say the largest Goshala, the largest number of cows, between 1 lakh and 3 lakhs. It's like up and down, and they have they're connected with I don't know, some 20 villages or something, and the cows are at different places. But I mean, you have large numbers of cows, and so that means you have a large quantity of cow dung and bull dung. That has yet to be resolved. Uh, that's why Shastra is important, because we can only resolve some maybe unclear or controversial issues by really looking. There's one important book that was found maybe about 10 years ago. It's called Go Shastra,
in Odia.
that one. So I found a person, because I sent it to you, I sent it to different devotees who up to now have not been able to translate it because it's been written in old Odia, Odisha language. And it was found actually in Jagannath Puri at the library. They have there are many libraries in India that have still now many yet to be translated.
Published for
Yeah,
common people.
I mean, that's still on palm leaves, right? Not even in the book form, on palm leaves. And because there's a lack of like Sanskrit scholars, these books which have all kinds of information. So this particular book called Go Shastra is very important. Why? Because it's attributed to Sahadev, Pandava Sahadev, who was looking after cows.
Tantipal.
Huh?
Tantipal. His name Tantipal.
Shanti.
Tantipal. When he
He's
was
saying-
taking care of
He was taking care in
Agyatwas.
Virat Parv.
Yeah, Virat.
Virat Parv when he was there in Agyatwas.
So do you know where that place is? No.
I just know the name.
Devotees from that place. Prabhuji is from that place.
I know where that place is. I know means because you see, it can make the connection. The king, I came to know this a few years ago. when I was visiting Midnapur. If you're not from Bengal, you won't know about Midnapur. Midnapur is like touching Orissa, but we know that like a few hundred years ago, the geography was like very different. The kingdom of King Prataparudra was all the way down to Chennai, right? Madras. Yeah, I mean, Lord Chaitanya met Ramananda Roy. Um, so some people who are living on the border of Bengal and Orissa, when a group of us were visiting, they told us that there's an old ruin, some place that the government is trying to like revive, whatever. And so we went there the next day, and we came to know that actually this was part of the kingdom of Virata, and that's where Sahadev, the Pandavas, were living in incognito. And so it makes sense that whatever Sahadev, either directly or through others, would have written has a touch of Orissa. So I found one person recently who has contacts, and he said that he's hopeful to get it translated. Maybe there's something there about Kaudang. Yeah. So this whole lila, of course, is in preparation for speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is especially the medium by which we can more fully and more deeply understand this aspect. I wanted to mention Prabhupada's explaining how we're not simply trying to give spiritual knowledge, although that is essential, but that spiritual knowledge needs to be seen, needs to be experienced, needs to be demonstrated, needs to be lived in practical ways, and that's where the whole aspect of culture and education comes in. So that's why Prabhupada sometimes he would explain how our movement is not only a spiritual movement, our movement is an educational movement, our movement is a cultural movement, and our movement is a huh? That's another one we can add. Yeah, it's a social movement, especially in the context of society, isn't it? Especially in the context of varnashrama. Varnashrama means society, and therefore Lord Chaitanya is described as being a great social reformer, isn't it? But people misunderstand and conclude that Lord Chaitanya rejected varnashram, which is not the proper understanding. Okay, I'll just read the text again if there's any question or comment on this. We were reading text number 8. At that time, all the great minds and thinkers, accompanied by their disciples and sages, who would verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage just by their presence, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrim's journey. Yes. Any thoughts or questions on this? Yes.
I wanted to mention yesterday, but it's also still interesting that as you mentioned that Parikshit Maharaj took this curse like a good
news.
So I went back to the few verses at the beginning of the chapter, and I see that first Parikshit Maharaj understood that he will be punished in some way, and he mentioned in different opportunities how he could get some bad reactions, like all the kingdom will burn.
Mm.
So from that point, that which he was in anxiety, what will happen in all my kingdom, or all my family, all my wealth,
Mm.
it came down. And when he heard that he will be cursed for dying in 7 days, he was like, oh,
Relieved.
that's a quite different category of
Punishment.
punishment.
Yes. Yes.
So he immediately understood that it is a blessing. So
Yes.
that's one way how devotees can understand if something bad happens, but they have a good intention, then they made some mistake, and then they have to meditate on that mood of Parikshit Maharaj. Yes, but Krishna is so kind. He will change my mistake to a good advancement. So I'm just waiting how, which form. Like Prabhupada was also in big anxiety at home when all his factory was burned down. But he somehow felt, okay, that's some kind of new beginning
Yes. Yes.
as a blessing. So that is the way how devotees could get relief from their seemingly bad situation when they get sickness or ex, some some bad experience.
Correct.
So that's a good teaching in this chapter, how we can also see these daily problems coming up, but they are good
Yes.
news.
Yes. Finding the good amidst the bad,
Yeah.
kind of. Right. Same thing. We also remember Vidura. He was a very prominent, respected personality by most people except Duryodhana. Very learned, and he was I mean quite elderly, and yet all of a sudden the very nice, comfortable situation in the kingdom, in the palace, just overnight, hey, you're out. But he took it in the positive way. So whenever, this is the point that Gorni Taipa was mentioning, whenever some calamities or major, one of Prabhupada's favorite expressions is reverses in life take place, um, we we should try to find uh, something positive, because there's always something positive, something to learn from any such type of calamities. Yeah. So it's probably good to end a little early, maybe not that early, but still, no, it's not so early. It's pretty well on time, because some activity will be there. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaura Pimanandi, Hare Krishna.